Now, this video is going to take maybe 3 parts to get to the end, but what this is pretty much is the last editing of all the edits that are going to come out with a PDF that I'm going to post that has actual maps in it as well. This one doesn't show the maps, and I will at the end I'll just show it as an example for history. That's what I've done. So it's going to be a few different parts here to talk about this text here for a little bit. Now, I know that people are going to, well, I guess I'm going to tell you right now, I feel that when I've done this editing a few times, I'm now starting to add words that one could say I'm influencing the text. If you've seen anything that I've done, I've really tried to stay to the original text the best I can. And any text that I started influencing or needed put in, I made the text gray. Now, now it's not going to be the time. Now people can start complaining that I influenced, but there's nobody qualified more than I am to edit the text. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to explain it in a lot of detail here because this is where I'm really doing the influencing and taking out a lot of unnecessary verses where some people will say, well, that verse should stay in there. They aren't necessary in the text. So I want to make sure I explain these to you as I go over them. And what I need to do is pull up the text and start here explaining what I've been doing. Okay, now what I've got here is it's going to be named Jesus's Truths and Teachings. And I want you to look over here where I've got notes, and then down here I've already got notes. These are not going to be in the PDF that you're going to see. It's going to take me probably 6 months and hundreds of videos to go through all the other Hebrew texts to show you what I did. And I am recording it for history this time because I've already done everything. But this is the historical archiving of you hearing it from me about why everything I've done. Okay, now that's pretty simple. This here should be, you can see that's here, so it doesn't need to be in there twice. Now this text, this group from here to here is going to be moved to the very end, or pretty much to the very end. But the first thing I did was I took this verse here and I stacked it on top. I don't know if I'm going to be repeating myself later when I come across it, but I want to make sure that I do that right now. When I've added the words here after Jesus ascended, because that's this story that's not saying any of this, but when you see the importance of me putting this text in at the spot that it's going to read, you're going to say, okay, I understand why he put those words in. And you'll also see why I can't use the word scribes. Now, this between the words Jews and these words here, you can see I'm really influencing this verse in making this group actually to be placed there. And it reads better there than just being stuck in the middle someplace. I had moved this, I think this is the third time. You might not have seen that many times that I moved it, but this one has been playing with my mind where to stick this. And then when I realized that I should stick this at the end, that's where it's going to go. And that's why I can say I finally decided. Just to use the word him to describe who he is our king, talking about Jesus. I got rid of the word now, but it's actually then, and then the word became. Those two words, then became, are priests and judges. This means that those that were onto the female goddess in power at that time. Now they claimed all synagogues, and then they removed us. Now the word us I'm putting in as his believers. So you can see that, okay, I think that this one you can trust me, that's easy to understand why I'm doing that. But when I'm removing these words here, that's because I'm covering it with the word Jews. Okay. That's covering the words of even non-believers of Jesus. Now here, those are simple to see that I'm removing those. I'm moving the word Zacharias to here, so I don't need the word named here. And like I said, this here is a note for me to put a map, so there will be a map stuck probably right here before you get to the text. Now I know that some places there was like in the middle of the story that it needs to be in the middle of the things, but I tried to put them above a chapter, so when you go through, you'll have to move back and forth to the maps. And some maps I have left out because I thought I'd just be repeating that. If you know that map is there, then you can go scroll back to it. And then after you've done that a few times, you probably don't even need to understand the maps. It's be quite visual in your head. Maps are really going to help out. And those are pretty easy to see. Heard by YV, yes, that's because we know who's hearing our words as our creator. So not will, but R2 name, John. He's defining it. So you can see that, not that you will, I made it more definite as you are to name. Now here I'm changing the word great to favored. Now I could pull up the text and show you that the word great does not mean favored. It means greatness and things like that. But what I did do was use the word favored because I'm tying it to the other word favored in the text. And it'll be where Mary says to Elizabeth that we are the favored servants of our Creator. So John is also favored because he is the last prophet and he is the one heralding Jesus. So this makes him as Jesus says, the greatest prophet, because he is announcing, I'm here. All others before then did not say he is coming. So that's the huge difference. I don't need the word holy in here. That just, we already understand our creator is our creator and he is everything, plain and simple. So we don't need the extra word here. That's just next word that's not needed. Now here's like a law until 50. And this is going to be, I just want to show you this right now because the text that I've already done, but I want to go through the videos, I will be linking all these little extra links like this of the law that our Creator assigned to Moses when he assigned the Levites as the tribe to become priests, okay? And teachers of the law and pretty much judges as well. Now, see where it says end of service? Well, this means that they were 50 years old and they were supposed to leave. Now, quickly to mention that the text, if you read the text on the website right now, are Creator's hidden formats, which this text is secondary to. That text, I'm not trying to overrule that. So this text here has a lot more wording and information in it, but no one is ever to I didn't want anybody else doing this for you. Okay. When I'm looking at copyrights and trying to make sure that um, you understand that nobody should be changing these words. You just are not qualified. If you watch any of my videos, I get into great detail, and you can see that I have studied this text for more than 40 years or 30 years, maybe 45, maybe 40 years. I first read the Bible when I was uh, 10 years old. It took me until I was in, I think, the first month of my 11th before I finished it the first time. And that means I read everything from the very, very front and all the little extra captions and all that stuff, all them little notes, everything. So, but here, this is a double, so I don't need it here. It's down here that uh, Jesus will, or Joseph is to name him Jesus. So it doesn't need to be set up here. I'm adding the words as your king because that's who he is. And you can see that I'm really influencing it because this verse, or this sentence in this group of verses, that I pretty much made this my own here. This verse isn't needed. It's just extra. And this is one of those verses that I mentioned at the beginning that people are going to complain I throw it out. It is not needed. There's nothing here that's changing Jesus or taking away from Jesus. Here you can see I'm changing the word brought to command. That's just a better way of saying it. And that's a lot of the changes that you're going to see here are that I've done that type of descriptive. Example, when I changed the word from you to we, this was like when you're reading it, am I trying to write this as they would have wrote it back in the Hebrew text, or am I updating it as the uh, the scribes or the disciples who wrote a lot of this text, how they would have wrote it? So I'm doing a little bit of that type of changing through here. These are pretty much understandable. Called, the named. I think you understand that, but um, I don't want to open up that and show you that how close that is to it. The other thing I should mention is this text itself is 43 pages long, but when I put the table of contents in and I start putting the maps in, I want the maps large. So because it's free, it's just a PDF that's, it's not going to, I don't think the whole book is going to be over, when it's all done, over 40 megabytes. So it's going to be easy to get to. I don't want everybody looking and trying to, oh, there it is right there. I want it blown up to make sure that you see it. Here, these words are put here for the future because people that when they're first reading it, will say, well, this should have been Caesar Augustus, and then you would have known that the Hebrew writers called them kings at the time. In fact, if you look in the 1611 preface, they called him an emperor. They didn't call him a Caesar. It's it's wording that's been changed, but I'm putting the text as back into Hebrew, the way a Hebrew would write it. And as you've watched me in a lot of these videos, I really struggle to and let you know that that's the way the Hebrews done it. Example, I got to say this again about numbering. They didn't have numbers like we have. We don't have like one word saying 19 or 25. Or yeah, until 25, I guess. No, no, that. Anyways, they would have said something. Say like if there was the word was 39, it would have been 3 tens and 9. So that's how they would have wrote that out. They wouldn't have had just 39. So, but here I went and put all the numbers simple. So when you're word searching, um, it's easier to word search. The problem will happen like when the word one comes up, that you could say there's one person, meaning one, and then you would say that one over there, and I left that word as being wrote out as one, but when it's actually referring to like a number, I put it a number one. That also happens with the word first. He is the first, or it was the first one. I guess I can't think of the exact text, but I know that I was caught up that how about this word first? Do I put them all with the number one and ST? So when you've got time, you can word search it and see what I've decided. Changing the word boy to him, and then getting rid of this. I know I added that text. I wanted people to understand, but I think I've said it enough times that they wore hides that were made from rams, so their hides were white that they were wearing. Um, Here, don't need these here, those words there, and going from them to the tribes to our tribes, priests and stuff. Gold. I took the word gold out to silver. They might have had gold at that time, but I'm trying to keep the text what it says below. They were using silver coins, so silver would have been something. Joseph would have showed up in Nazareth with a bunch of gold coins. People would have been probably freaking out, like, where'd you get the gold? Because when I did a search for gold coins at that time, I didn't really see them. I seen several different Roman coins stamped, and they're saying that's from their year, but I didn't really see anything with gold. So I'm replacing the word gold with silver. He was righteous before YV, not devoted to, but before YV means that every day you should act as if our Creator is standing right there watching you. Actually, He is. that's that's something I've learned that I know He is. Okay, so I'm just telling you that the word before is better than what these words are here. Um, Jordan River, and make yourself see. Sometimes it was just that I needed to actually add in text to make it read right, and I wanted to make sure the river was named. This verse read better as being combined together, so what I've done is put this, and then I think I've got like a footnoted 6 as well, 1 through I think D6 or verse 6, anyways. So that you'll see in the PDF at the end. And like this here, when you start to see this is what's so exciting about making the text color. You really understand that some of these words, you know exactly who we're talking about and where the importance of these words that were said by our Creator still have, like, Wyvie's promise or prophecies became flesh. Um, So the thing here is should I change the word flesh? But the object here is when you're getting this much color, I'm honoring and respecting our Creator. There's no other text out there that does that. Here I've added the word first appeared at the Jordan. It just needs to be written that way. I'm taking this verse here. No, but yeah, okay. I'm taking that verse and I'm putting it here, and I'm taking this verse and I'm putting it up here. When you go and read this later, you'll see how beautiful it does read. And if you read it when they're separated like this, um, you'll be able to see that that is just not the way it should be read. I tried to put all like words together. Okay. Let me just put it that way. Because a lot of these verses I'm putting before or after now. I mean, when you see how many, see this is from Luke, this is from Matthew, um, and then even in some of these have got more in there. So, but when I'm trying to clean them up, some of the verses I didn't put in order correctly when I was just combining them just to get them close enough to where the text will be here. Chosen one. Now, I'm not an expert at English, so I don't know if this needs two O's or not. So, so the thing right now, I put them all to one, and I'm going to do a grammar check when I get done with the text to see if that's right or not. Doesn't need to be Holy One. Here it's Chosen One. This is more descriptive. Now, I have left the word Holy One in, and you'll see, and when you read it, you'll see the difference. Holy One, all of a sudden, it's after Jesus has been anointed that he can glide over water, he can control the wind, this type of thing, to where you are this Holy One. So, because that's things being done beyond what a prophet could do. The word caravan, I think I went and put this back in. I think I put it as thing. I can't remember what I tried to do, but this is one of the words that I'm going to have to make as a dictionary word at the back, trying to explain. So, children that don't know what a caravan is not going to a secular dictionary. In fact, maybe somebody might even make a dictionary up and using examples from here. I probably will never do that. I'm going to be busy doing things. So I just don't know if I'll be able to do that at the end of my life or not. But the object here is I've got a lot of things planned. I just hope that I can do that. But if there is not a real dictionary done, yes, go ahead and do a dictionary, but stay true to the text to help people out. And make sure you do a video to record it to why you're doing it so somebody can judge you and say, well, he didn't do it right or he did it right. And that's the way to keep things truthful, because we are not to deceive anybody about Jesus. Here you can see I'm combining this verse up here to make it all one sentence. Added the word ing on the end of it. Here I changed the word from father to him, even though it'll be all capitalized. It just reads better here. I tried to keep the word father as group 2. See, he's being called father here many times. So it's kind of like when I read it, it was too many times. So, but if you wanted to see the definition for the title father, you can read them and you'll get a real good, true understanding of the word title and why they used the title that way. Has to will have. Later would be the next daylight, because when the stories are being put together like this, I've done a lot of this changing of these words here to continue as if the reader is reading it. And it just the stories need to divide it up. And there was like so much text here of him doing this and doing this, that this has to be the next day, next daylight, and not just later that that evening. So my words, not my voice, because it's the words that the reader's going to be reading today. So that's why the word words is here, because you aren't going to be able to hear his voice at this time. I'm taking this part of this sentence and actually putting it before it, because and I actually made them two different sentences, but I needed this text before this text. Needed to be changed from, yes, from they to you, more descriptive, more first person real writing there, because Jesus was talking to them. So it would have been you at that time they would have been writing. See here, I've added this here a few days later. So this is trying to, because when you're reading these stories, at at the ending of the video, I've actually got the number of days that when he's starting to actually enter into Jerusalem. And you'll see that the like stories that I combined are very descriptive of what happened that day. And then you'd see that, okay, the story said that this happened. And okay, like the first day, he did not kick them out of the um, courtyard from his house that day. And I'm pretty sure, right off the top of my head, that that's going to be a difference between our creator's hidden formats than this. Because there's a lot more stories here, and some of them are actually being repeated at different times. Because I'm sure he was asked the same question over, and the way the story is, I really didn't want to combine them and throw out so much, because it would almost be like throwing the whole thing out. So I had him saying it two different places, real early in the text, and then in Jerusalem. That this here is just to be able to make sure that you knew where he was walking at, because he's actually left Jerusalem and now he's starting to walk in the Israel side, or walking out of, I guess, Judah is where Jerusalem is located, or the whole kingdom, and then the top part west of the Jordan River is called Israel. So now you can see that I needed to add. So when you see these maps pull up and you're starting to see him walking, you'll start noticing the text, why I'm putting this in here. I think I went over this in the video a few times, and I got eyelids, not sockets now. So I think I've changed my mind 3 times now on this, but I finally got it, and I'm finally deciding the word eyelids. They're closed. Like I was saying, we wouldn't be hearing his voice today. We're hearing his words. The word "the good hell herder" doesn't need to be there. So this is where somebody might complain, well, he took these words out. This doesn't mean anything extra here. So if somebody starts teaching the good herder, don't be listening to them. Seriously. I'm getting rid of words that I am very safe and comfortable. That when our Creator Jesus asked me why I did these, and I go over it with them, I'm sure that they would agree with me that, because I don't do this just randomly throw things out. I take a lot of thought into each word, but I just don't have the time to explain them. To you, I can just tell you that the decision has been now made and that's gone. Just as the word his followers here, when I change it to the word we, you get to understand who was writing this at this time. And it was his followers. Now, I know I had to put followers here to begin with because it was disciples, but he doesn't have disciples yet. Because when the story starts coming together, you're actually going to see, um, I think, where 10 of the disciples were actually chosen. He says, follow me, and they become disciples. One is Judas. I know that we don't, and I think the other one, no, can't think of the last one. Anyways, I realize that when I'm putting this in, yes, I am putting this in, but it's actually he is who he is, would be saying it this way. Because at this time, he is not granted to forgive when I mesh the stories together. He's not granted this yet. Um, to fulfill the act of a priest, you have to be anointed. Jesus is not anointed yet by our Creator. That happens when he rises above the water and his breath descends down like a dove and rests upon him. That is his anointment. And that's when Jesus starts going out and teaching he can forgive people. And the other things that, like I was saying, gliding over water, controlling the water and the wind. Here, I know it starts out with 5 husbands. I worked it down to 2, and I've decided 1. 1 is better, just for the fact that um, too many, she becomes an adulterer. Okay, so the thing here is I don't want her to become an adulterer here. The text here is specifically cleaned up from making people example. Uh, they've got Solomon and David both having hundreds of women. That's just not true. That's not, they were very uh, um, obedient to our Creator. They would not have this. And this is the stuff that I'm pulling out, and I will go through a lot of that at that time and explain that as well. But I didn't want her to be an adulterer here, but leaving one husband where she has no husband now. She is, when you read the text about Jesus where she's not married again, makes her a very good person, okay? Um, and I've got her husband being the rotten guy here. Okay, he left her. She sent away, and then she's a better person than he is. The word it's changing it to we, us, and them. We. These are all good to make sure that it's written by first person. Requesting to ask. I don't think that's too difficult to understand. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be maybe a 4-part series. I'm only on page 7 of 43, so, and it's 33 minutes. I changed it from laying his hand on him to heal. Now, there's going to be another place where, with this story, when it was read this way, it would have been, he would have been, yes, laying his hands on him. But that is out in this. They were just asking him to heal him here. So this is still very early. He's making his way from Jerusalem up to Nazareth. So these things are, the story is reading really good here. And I added the word deaf because he spoke with grunts. So because he couldn't hear, he couldn't pronounce the words correctly. And added it here. This here, extra text that's not needed is this. We already know these things. and he healed them. It doesn't need to be the words he touched. Followers to we. Don't need it down here. We know who they are when they're writing this. Now, what I'm adding is he who is sent from heaven. This is Jesus speaking. He is who is sent from heaven. And I've got to make a note on that. I'm pretty sure I don't have that. Gotta remake the PDFs over. I see I don't have this word colored as red. No. Okay, that would have probably maybe cut it the next time around, 6 months from now. But in fact, I'm giving you guys actually a real chance to, and when you're examining and you see things like just the little cleanups or note them that you're worried about this. I've got noted that you can in the description. I'm trying not to going to block anybody, but the object is that I want to be serious with the people that are serious about understanding Jesus. Now here, I'm putting by Lake Galilee because we don't need them in the city yet. There's too many stories here going through here that's going to start describing Capernaum. So the thing here is by Lake Galilee. That's going to be easy. That's going to be easy. There was no crowd here because he was not honored in his own home city. So that's why I took this out. It does say that somewhere he did lay a few hands on a few people there, but he didn't have the crowd that he was having earlier, because the followers that are following, I don't think there's going to be maybe 4 or 5 people following him. You got to understand, those guys got to be rich. They got to be able to have enough money that they can take with them, and they're following and writing things down as he goes. So they have to sustain themselves because they are going to be with him all the way up to Nazareth and then come back down until he gets baptized. When he's sent into the desert, nobody knows where he's at. So I can say then the followers are disbanded, okay? And then he starts picking up the disciples. So just to give you some background on how I'm arriving to how we approach the gate and the bearers. Here again, chosen. And I put the word immediately here because they had runners. These guys would run the news back and forth if it was important. So now when Jesus actually raises somebody from the dead, I've got it as immediately they sent out runners. They didn't wait for Jesus to leave and then go around. This is what I'm saying. That it was immediately they sent the runners out saying he's raised somebody from the dead. Okay. Now, this is slowly building up. Okay. And in fact, you can see here, I've got the word immediately. And then down here, also reported to the tribes. This next thing he did, then they reported that as well. So the thing here but it was reported just over there by Lake Galilee. It seems those tribes, Ezekiah and Naphtali and right in there, that group was being the most obedient to our Creator. That's why he picked up the disciples there. That's why he healed most of the people up there. So the thing here is when you see him going through here, he's more teaching than he is healing dozens of people. At this time, is very few people that he's actually healing. And remember, he's choosing who he's healing, okay? I needed to change the word to our Jews because I'm using the word our Jews from here, and then I can get rid of this whole verse here by saying it here or saying, say it's here. So I'm getting this double out of here. Astray, I'm trying to get rid of that word, say deceiving. So that shouldn't be too hard. Priest, I'm actually going to say Jews, which are pretty much some of these Jews, like I said, are going to be just unbelievers. Here I adding the word holiday here on a holiday because it's down here is when he's doing it, but you don't learn that until down here. So I've stuck it in up here. And then just like this here, I had Zublin as the location, and now we have the city. So this would have been, because here is when he goes into the city when he was raised him up from his coffin. So the thing here is that was when he was coming in, and then as he's going out, I still need to make sure that people know that the story is still related, that he did these things in this city. Zublin was just too big of a territory. Just getting rid of this. This has been repeated so many times that at this time it doesn't need to be in the text. I got rid of ox because that could have been, but the object is grain-fed livestock. This would have been lambs. They did have cattle at that time, or goats, or these would have been the ones in the pen, meaning grain-fed. So if you notice today how the Japanese have found out that if they keep the animal pinned and doesn't walk around, the meat gets more fattier and more tasty. So you can see at this time that when the words I'm putting as a grain fed, meaning that they pinned them up, they didn't let them go wandering all over the place. So had better tasting food. Here I'm going to move, I moved this group here from the other group, and I got to stop when I say this. So this is already 42 minutes. I didn't keep an eye on time. So I moved this group from where it was at, and I did give you notes here to go searching the text.